So what we have to do with these assumptions, and this is a good exercise to do a lot in your work, is to go through, okay, I've got a deal, today I've got this particular day, and what are the assumptions I'm running around with in my head? Get them all out on the table. Acknowledge them. Be upfront with yourself that you have them. But for the moment, if you're trying to do creative work, get rid of them. Sorry, but you kind of, you have to move beyond assumptions because they will limit how much you can do in a space. So we had some good ones up here, and I'm not saying we're not going to accomplish something today. We better accomplish something today. You guys are going to be like, what did you bring here for? But my point is, I'm trying to make a point about its limitation. So, okay, this one is kind of fun. Everybody else will get another piece of paper out from a scratch sheet, single sheet. You're going to use both sides, front and back. You guys, who's got the time? Can you give me a quick check on time? 8:45? All right. So we are, we're into sort of number 4. We got 2 more aspects of creativity we're going to explore. This is called Lisa's theory about creativity equals more alive. Okay? Creative equals more alive. So it's very simple. If something is seen as creative, it will make you feel more alive than you did before you saw it or made it or did it. So what does that mean? What does more alive mean? Well, we all have our sense of what more alive means or what alive means. So I want you to take a second just with yourself and list as many words, concepts, ideas, feelings, thoughts that to you are equivalent to the concept of more alive. Air, water, laughter, family, whatever it is, just the things that to you define and feel alive. Not dead, but alive. I think I've made that clear. Just take a moment. Write down as many as you can. Okay, you can keep writing, but I want people to start calling some out to me. Alive, words, feelings, thoughts. Sunshine. Say that again. Clean.
Movement.
Rain.
Rain. Call them out loud so I can hear. Spring. Home.
Color.
Noise.
Laughter. Flowers. Music. Laughter. Hold on. Keep going. What am I missing? Art. Learning. Sex. Sex.
Good sex.
Love. Goals. Play. Color.
Bicycling.
Unique.
Bicycling.
Beauty.
Weekend.
Associations.
Weekends.
Affirmations.
Wine. Friends.
Light. Jokes.
Jokes. Pets. Run.
How about heat?
Heat. Flowers, I got flowers.
Fire.
Fire. Fire. Okay,
Birds.
birds.
Grandchildren.
Football. Okay, I want to just tell you guys the things that where you feel more alive. And these are just, you know, right? So think of it. So just have these in your mind as sort of remembering alive. Sunshine, clean, movement, rain, spring, trees, home, flowers, music, laughter, learning, sex, love, birds, grandchildren, goals, play, color, beauty, weekends, affirmations. I think I also heard associations. Wine, friends, changing, excitement, jokes, pets, run, memories, football, heat, children, fire. Alive, alive. Okay? Let's make sure, because we're going to refer to this. You guys are going to want to refer to this in a bit. It's key. All right, now flip the page to the other side and do the opposite. What makes you feel less alive? Flatlining. What causes you to flatline? Not feel alive, not feel good, not feel vibrant. Want to call some out to me? Negative.
Cruelty.
Inactive.
Empty.
Empty.
Doubt.
Doubt.
Stress.
Cloud.
Neglect.
Gray days. Say that again? Gray days. Gray days.
Hate.
Deserted.
Disorganized. Wait, hold on. Sameness. Limited communication.
Gridlock. Empty.
Isolation.
Boredom.
Fear.
Other things. Negative people? Negative, yeah, so. Criticism.
Narrow-mindedness.
Routine. Routine.
Stubbornness.
Apathy, I got apathy. Nope. Yeah.
Lack of faith.
Judgment. Selfish.
Lack of hope.
Wow.
We're good at this.
We are good at this. Jeez. It's okay. That's what it is. It's all polarities down here. So I don't necessarily want to read these because it's going to make us depressed. But you get the point, right? So when it is not alive, there's some things that are definitely we're seeking to, weighs us down, has some weight. All of these have a weight to them. And I tend to, the reason why I like to look at it in terms of live, not alive, is there's a tendency for us to sort of always gravitate to what's good and not the bad. And in anything, the dark and the light exists. So I really like to look at it as alive more and not alive. Because what we're here on the planet, humans walking around, and we want to feel more alive. That's what we want to do. And so it tends to not set up that sort of polarity. All right, not alive. I'm going to put these under here because they're weighty. All right, so the last aspect of creativity that I want to talk about is this really the most important one, I guess, before we set off on our big task for today, is this idea that really it is our innate potential in all of us. I so often hear, I'm not creative. Here's the deal. We are human beings, therefore we're creative. And we really need to move beyond this idea that creativity is relegated to the ad industry, artists, or even whatever that is that tends to happen. We tend to put people in creative categories. It's not the truth. It's a false belief system. We, each of us, is innately creative because we are human beings. And there's this great quote by this guy, Rollo May. If you haven't read him, he's also fantastic. He wrote a book. He wrote lots of things. But I love his quote. It says, "The creative process must be explored as representing the highest degree of emotional health, as the expression of normal people actualizing themselves. Creativity is seen in the work of the scientist, the artist, the thinker, the esthetician, captains of modern technology, a mother and her normal relationship with her child. Creativity is basically the process of making, of bringing into being. That's what we do every day. That is our human instinct. So as part of that acknowledgement, each of us, to do our best work today or anytime we want to do creative stuff, we need, I always ask people, let's make some creative agreements. What do we need to do our best work? Because each of us is going to show up and be creative in this process. And I started some, and we can throw this list out and start new, but I want us to have a list of creative agreements that we agree to today, that as we're doing work in the next session, that if anybody starts getting out of line, you can call the other person and make them accountable, because we all need that support to do our best work. I started with this list, no guffaws, because I don't know, guffaws really tend to press me. No negative criticism. I'm just going to have an idea, and it's not okay just to go, that's a terrible idea. Ask critical questions about it instead. So ask them, how would that work? Let's figure out how would that work. Know your limits, stop when you're ahead. Sometimes we just we want to hear ourselves talk because we have a lot to say, and it tends to dampen other people's ability to say stuff. Positive affirmations. If somebody says something that's really good and you agree with, tell them, wow, that's a great idea. And express gratitude, because I think a lot of times we forget to tell people thank you for offering me that, blah, 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 blah. So that would be some ideas, but I'll throw these out. Do you guys have things you'd like for us to adhere to today that are part of a creative agreement that would support you to do your best work? So you're not going to end up, feeling like, I'm not going to say anything. Anything else?
Park the ego.
Say that again. Park it. Okay, park the ego. Some of us don't always know how to do that. I know sometimes I get a little caught up in my ego occasionally, but let's see if we can do that. Anything else? Anything else that would help us
I
be?
don't know how to express it, but I think it would be helpful if we don't say we tried that before and it didn't work.
Okay, so
No negativity.
yeah. Yeah, no negative criticism and just no negativity generally. And also, how about no defeatism? Okay. Because sometimes that's what that's about, or cynicism sometimes, you know? Done that, been there, done that. Okay, let's leave it open. Anything else?
How about drawing on past experiences?
So let's do that. For you, that will support you, drawing on past experiences, okay? Drawing on past experiences here or anywhere?
Anywhere.
Okay.
I think no drawing on past experience.
Okay. Well, is this going to limit people? Yes. Okay. So
It depends on the spirit it's done in.
Yeah.
I think if it's done in the spirit of not being negative or not.
Yeah. Suzanne, how is this going to help you do your most creative work? Because you know.
Well, I can put myself into a place where I really enjoyed it and then kind of envision what was around me that made that space great or that experience great. So it's just remembering the good times.
Right. Okay. So in other words, I think what we're trying to say here is that, and this is good, is that each of us has a unique life history that should be brought into the room and honored, because we all have had these unique experiences. So each of those unique experiences. So honor individual experience. Does that feel good with people?
I think one other thing too is everyone's equal here. I think there's a lot of structure and, I mean, you look around, we have from the top to the bottom in this room, and I think sort of leveling the playing field and saying, hey, we're all equal, we all have an equal voice here, would help.
Okay. Yep. That is really important. Each of us, I was going to say before we start the next thing, every single person here, their voice is equivalent to every other voice, and it's what we do together to make that happen. Okay, these are our creative agreements with each other today. And when you are in a group and you feel like somebody's pulling out one of these, just point to the list. Hey, remember. Because we forget. That's what we do. We forget and we get into our traditional patterns, and we just need to be reminded, and it's not a big deal.
One more. Back
Yes.
to the basics. You know, a lot of times we get thinking about the fine little detail, like you were saying, what kind of bench. You've got to stay on the basics.
Stay on the basics. Stay on the big. What I would encourage us to do is stay in the big realm of experience, as opposed to the details, because the details are going to get hammered out. What we're trying to do is really stay up in that realm of bigger experience, where it's a feeling state, almost, that we have to stay in today, and support each other to do that. Okay, so that was our creativity calisthenics for the morning. How do you feel? Do you feel warmed up? Do you feel like, okay, I'm going to be a little less tight this Monday morning? I'm going to give you guys a break. How about like 7 minutes? Get some more coffee if you want to walk around, and then we'll be coming back to do some big work. Okay. So now we're going to really be focused. We're going to take the old tapes out, bring the ninja focus. This is where the real work of today is going to start to happen, and we're opened up to it, I hope. You all are going to spend the next, let's see, I got to just make sure. Okay, you guys are going to spend the next hour. Is that right? Yeah, the next hour, okay? working at your table on what I'm going to describe to you. And there's several things at your table. There's a big sheet of paper. It's actually two of these connected together. And you've probably had your coffee cups on it and stuff like that. That is the world. That's the document that you're going to actually record the world that you're going to describe to yourselves. And there's a bunch of colored pencils, and there's some green paper, which don't do anything with. I'll tell you what to do with that later. Every table in this room is going to become a particular demographic. So I've got middle-aged couple, no kids, or their kids are at college. I've got young professionals, some folks, single, 20s and 30s. Young family with kids, retired couple. So everyone group is going to get a particular demographic. Now, you're probably going to get a demographic, and there could be a case in which nobody at the table is that. But you might have been that one day. Or you're going to become that one day. Now, this is where imagination comes in, you guys, because if you've been that, you have no excuse. You've got to be able to remember what that was like. And if you're going to be that, come on, we all know people in our lives who are that, and we know where we're going to go. We know what it feels like, where it's going to go, okay? So that's the hat I really want you to wear as much as possible. I know that your own personal preferences about where you are at the stage in your life are going to come in. I have no doubt about that. But trust the process. Trust yourselves to become this demographic for this moment in time and imagine those possibilities. What you're going to do is you're going to spend some time imagining a day in Johnson City, a day and a night. It could start out at noon, it could go into the evening. But it's going to be an entire world for you of experiences. And it should have a start and an end. It should include a lot of different things. It can happen in any different season. Imagine yourself in a season like the fall or the summer or the spring. And picture as many details of that experience as you possibly can. And things that I want you to use to prompt this conversation are the first thing you should do as a group, maybe with that demographic I'm going to give you, just write down all your likes and dislikes. Talk about them. What do you like? What do you not like? And then really begin to get into these questions or this sort of mindset of, wouldn't it be fun if? Or I've always wanted to, right? And the world is your oyster. There are no limitations. I mean, we put out some assumptions here. These, I really think, I want you to just don't think about assumptions. I do want you to adhere to these creative agreements with each other. I really want you to keep in mind this. So if we're going to stay in a creative state, if stuff starts coming up, that focus on what it is that makes you feel more alive. I think that at each table, I don't think this is actually going to work. I think there are facilitators at each table. I see some folks who are going to sort of serve as a role for you as more of an observer. And they're going to be listening and taking notes and ideally asking you critical questions. But let this be a conversation for a while about Johnson City in 10 or 15 years. Oh, that's the key point, okay? It's the experience you can imagine for yourself happening in 10 or 15 years. That'll get you out of this sense of, or that restricted space of, well, that can't happen because, okay? So, is that clear? Do you guys have, is there anything you want to ask me before we head into this? Because this is really imaginative space. I just want to clarify. The piece of paper, whoever likes to draw, or if you want to do it collaboratively, that's what I prefer, actually. You're going to map this thing out. You're going to map out that day. Yeah, first I go to here, and then I walk down Market Street, and then I'm going to go over here, and then lo and behold, there's an ice skating rink, and we're going to do that. Whatever it is. There's a NASCAR museum. I don't know. And you're going to map that out on this piece of paper. Ultimately, you all, let me just get your attention real quick before you start in. Ultimately, this document or this map, we're going to take a break after an hour, and then we're going to come back to it, and we're going to pull out the principles or criteria that describe that experience. The kind of key things that you would say are the aligning factors of that day, of that experience. So keep that in the back of your mind as you're doing this. Okay? So let me hand out your thing. You guys are a young family with kids. You guys are a young family with kids, too. You guys are single young professional in your 20s or 30s. Can you handle that?
Pretty easy. That's what we are, isn't it?
Ooh, I like seeing drawings. I like seeing drawings. This is good. This is good.
We all have different creative gifts.
Yes. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Good. Awesome. How's it feeling? I mean, are we identified with these guys and knowing what they like, dislike, what they wish they could always do? Okay. Story form. Okay. All right. All right. Day in the life of. How's your drawings coming, guys? Everyone can draw, so somebody is gonna do that. I don't want this to get in your way.
I nominate John to draw.
John? Just start getting some of these ideas out. You know, it's a map. Like, you could even start with, you know, let's just start here. Where are we going? What are we doing?
Go biking at some point.
Good drawing. I love this.
Color. So we have a diversity of age groups.
Yes, yes, I like it. Is that a pipe? Yes, yeah, good. I'm loving it. Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah, he's outdoors.
Uh-huh.
That's right. He's still alive.
Is everybody is feeling like, you know, are we identifying with this, what do you guys have, a middle-aged couple? Okay, all right. Is anybody that demographic here? Okay, so your kids are in college, you don't have any kids, whatever. You're just, yeah. But you can imagine. All right, all right. 10 or 15, yeah, just, you know, yeah, you're projecting out. 10 years is about, you know, a good amount of time. It's going to take that long to kind of...
So I was going to do the farmer's market.
How's this coming, you guys? I see a lot of writing. How about mapping?
You know, we're pretty good with this.
You don't have to do it. Allie, you can do it. I bet you're awesome. Come on. We got colored pencils.
What to draw?
So what do we draw?
What do we draw exactly?
You're drawing a world. You're drawing a world that you're going to inhabit in 10 years. That this young professional is going to live in.
There?
Which one?
The one on the far
No, you have to draw it yourself. This is called, and I'm hearing in the assumption category, I can't draw, which I have to.
He already drew that one.
Yeah, he's the one that drew that one.
Okay, one of you guys I know can do that. I have this feeling. Can I get everybody's attention for a second? Can I call everyone here for just a sec? Up front. I'd like to call this a wrap. I know some of you are not done yet. That's okay. But I really need to give, you guys have been working for almost an hour straight. And what you need after you've done that kind of thing and you're talking at each other, you need to step away from what you've been doing and clear your head and not think about it for a second. Talk about something else. But, so I'm gonna ask you to break. If you're still working at your tables, that's okay, you can do that. But I'm gonna give you about 6-7 minutes to break. But when we come back, there's another piece that we have to do, and it might come really quickly. It might only take 15 minutes. That's what I'm hoping. Because then I want to hear a quick presentation of all the experiences that we've designed for Johnson City, if we can get through that. But the second phase of this work is coming up with the underlying values that define, support, and uphold this day-long experience. That's what we're going to put down on these green sheets of paper for each of these things, okay? But to do that well, you need to step away. So get up, stretch your legs, get some water, whatever. But in 6 minutes, I'm going to call you back. 7 minutes. You all, thank you. I just want to thank everybody for participating so fully. I could feel the warm-up take place, that brainstorm thing happening, and then what I love is watching people just get into it and start getting on the piece of paper. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and we spend all this time writing words, and we don't spend enough time drawing. One of the things I've recently done is I've covered my dining room table with big paper like this, and me and my 8-year-old, we draw on it every chance we get till it's filled, and then it's a mural that we can hang. And it's a pretty amazing process because it helps to articulate where we're at in any given moment. I loved watching this group over here get down to business on the drawing like so fast. That was wild. You know, and with just a little encouragement, I've seen how people have taken the ball and run with it on the drawings. These guys back here, you'll see what everyone's done in a moment. But before we do that, what I'm going to ask you to do, and this shouldn't take too long because I think you've had such great conversations around this, is on this there's some green sheets of paper on your table, and there's a big black Sharpie. So what I want you to do, and this, you may have to do a draft and then write it up on the green sheet. You're going to pull from your storyboards the underlying values that hold this day, this experience, to be true, that support it, that if without those values, that day would not be a complete day. And as I was going by some of these people, I'm seeing a lot of things where there's intense interpersonal activity, in-person activity being facilitated throughout the day. That's a value. Frequent and constant in-person contact. Dynamic in-person contact. That's a value. That's a criteria. I've also seen there's a lot of integration with nature. So that's a value. Strong integration with natural environment. Facilitating strong integration with natural environment. There's a number of different values that are inherent in your day. And if you could take the next period of time, it shouldn't take you too long, 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. As you lay those things out, write them up on the green sheet of paper. On a second sheet of green paper, the name tags that had the stickies of your names? Put all your names on your other green sheet of paper because that's your team. And when you're ready, when you're done, tell me, and we're going to post everybody's storyboard with their criteria and their team members up here. And the sooner we can do that, the sooner we can hear about what's going to happen in Johnson City in 10 years. So focus on that, if you could. Okay, all right. You guys, this is the fun part. Let's